Don't worry, I'm going to talk about Separate Ways.
Ink Ribbon.
So, a few weeks ago, I was actually working on a video script where I was going to talk about how unhappy and disappointed I am with video games today. And I know that that's a millennial stereotype, just like, back in my day, everything came on the disc and no DLC and blah, 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 and games were more original. All that stuff that you guys have heard before, which, by the way, if you're young, you're like Gen Z or younger, and you don't have like a full-time job and you're still going to school and you've got time to play video games, enjoy it. Because let me tell you, when you're an adult, it changes everything. But that's a topic for a different day. It's not just that games are changing or whatever, it's also like this feeling of we, the fans, the actual gamers who play these games, have been asking for things, and instead of giving us what we ask for, they give us stuff that is very obviously shilling for money, or just stuff that we're like, what is this? I don't want this. Exoprimal. Now, there's been so much gaming news coming out and just announcement after announcement and release after release that I started realizing, whoa, I'm actually excited about video games for the first time in a few years, to be honest. I mean, of course, there's like the games every now and then. Usually it's a Resident Evil game that I'm like, yay, but then everything else I'm just like, like whatever. And that's sad because I'm a gamer. That's what I identify as. That's like my primary descriptor. I am a gamer and then everything else afterwards. So to have all this just years of not having anything to play to now, I mean, it's crazy. I just decided to make this video last night. Once the Separate Ways announcement hit, which I knew Separate Ways was coming. Not like I knew, like no one told me. I knew it was coming. I mean, Resident Evil 4 remake and Resident Evil 4 in general was so successful. How could they not? And I mean, 2023 has already been an amazing year for games, and we're only in September. I mean, we got Resident Evil 4 remake that did still come out this year. That was in March. We got Street Fighter 6, which I am happy to confirm that I indeed suck at Street Fighter. We got Final Fantasy 16. We got the new Mortal Kombat, which I would be playing right now because I pre-ordered it, but it's late. Thanks, Amazon. And then also, on top of new games coming out in general, just sequels, we're also getting a lot of remakes and remasters, which I know that there's a lot of people who just cannot stand remakes. They think they're unoriginal and all that stuff. And I can see the merit behind that. I understand where you're coming from. But I personally think that they're great. That's a whole video topic, but the number one point that I'll make with remakes and remasters being good is letting companies know that we're still interested in franchises. I guarantee you, if there was a Dino Crisis remaster, not a remake, just a remaster where they just updated the graphics or even just re-released it, Capcom would step back and look at the sales numbers and be like, maybe we should look into this Dino Crisis franchise. I think people actually want to play this game series. But again, what do we know, right? We're just the fans.
The entire Dino Crisis series, a once promising franchise that I guess Capcom just kinda gave up on. Ever since RE2 Remake released back in 2019, I feel like I just see and hear about Dino Crisis all the time from not only the Resident Evil community, but the overall Capcom community.
But again, what do we know, right? We're just the fans. I've also thought about making a video like, should fans have any input, like official input in game franchises, because I feel like companies are kind of losing touch with us. But anyway, that's again a different video. Going back to the remakes and remasters, there's some games I thought I'd never be able to play again. Like a big one for me is Crisis Core. That game was trapped on the PSP for a really long time. I didn't think we'd ever see it again. And which was sad because I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy VII fan, to be completely honest, but I loved Crisis Core. Zack is my favorite character of that world or whatever, and the fact that it got a remaster, I mean, it knocked me out of my chair. I was like, what? Oh my god. And I actually have like not gone back to it. I beat it once and stopped because I don't want to platinum it too fast, because once you platinum a game, there's like no motivation to go back and play a lot of the times. And then we also have the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, which I know is not a remake or a remaster. It's kind of just a re-release. But I think it's a great opportunity for gamers who still have not played the original Metal Gear Solid games. I don't know what else you're waiting for. This is the time. Like, do it. And now you've got the Carbon engine, which is bringing back really old games like Clock Tower. I mean, I never thought that would get re-released in any capacity. And that's exciting because there's a lot of games that still deserve love. It's kind of like when you go back and watch an old movie again, whether it's the original VHS copy or the Ultra HD 4K remastered whatever. I view that the same way with video games. Like, it's a way to relive and re-experience things. That's why I don't understand when people get so mad about remasters and remakes, because it's like you get to enjoy it again, and it's like a whole new experience sometimes, and sometimes it's exactly as you remember it, but with much better graphics, and you're like, oh, that's wow, it's nice. And now we have this long list of remasters and remakes that I am still, like, I can't believe are real. Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, or Metal Gear Solid Delta, whatever they're calling it. The whole Kojima Konami thing, I was like, okay, Metal Gear Solid is dead. And then it's back. Which, in case you didn't know, they're keeping all the original voice lines. So David Hayter is still Snake. All the actors are the same, which, oh, thank you. They're not going to change the story at all. Just, it's kind of in between a remake and a remaster when it comes to that. I'm recording, bud. Hey, Carl. Carlito Gatito, come here. Okay, well, if you hear crinkling, I'm sorry. It's my cat, Carl. He's off screen causing mayhem. Anyway, we're also getting Alone in the Dark, which I actually never played Alone in the Dark. I played a little bit of the PS1, the New Nightmare. I really want to fully experience that. So that's an example of where I've never gotten to play a game, and now I get to experience it. So that's fun, because that was a really cool thing too with Resident Evil 2 Remake, is getting to watch the younger generation experience my favorite game of all time. You know, and it was updated in a way that it was palatable to them. And I was like, okay, remake, fine, whatever. You get your graphics. Do you like it? And everyone was like, yes, I like it. And that made me happy. And then we have the Silent Hill 2 remake, which is another game that I'm not as excited as I could be, because I still think Silent Hill 1 should have gotten the remake, but whatever. Maybe that will come in the future. And that's the other thing. If you financially support these games, like if you genuinely love, for example, Silent Hill 2, and you go and you buy it, that tells Konami, hey, you can make more money if you release another remake, and then you can get Silent Hill 1 remake. That's how we got Resident Evil 4 remake, because Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake did so good. I mean, you got to think of like voting with your wallet in that regard. And then we got the new Final Fantasy VII continuation coming out, which I'm excited for. I know that I said I'm not the biggest Final Fantasy VII fan. I was talking about the original. The new one has kind of won me over. I think it's because when I can't hear the characters talk and I have to read everything, I just lose connection to the story and the characters. Maybe because I'm stupid. I'm just like, after a while, I'm like not paying attention to the text or whatever, but that's probably just a me problem and not anything else. And then my mind exploded when they announced the Tomb Raider trilogy remaster. You guys don't understand. Like, if you're not a Tomb Raider fan, Tomb Raider remastered is something that we've been talking about forever, and we're actually getting it. This is how it felt when the Resident Evil 2 remake was announced. It was like, what? Everybody on the internet has been like, is this real? When I tweeted it, and I was like, oh my god, everyone's like, haha, very funny, or like, I wish. And I was like, no, it's really happening. And everyone was like, what? And on top of that, we now get the expansions that we never got to play, because unless you had the physical disc for the Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3, like, I guess it was like DLC at the time. It was just an expansion. It was PC only. We can play those now. I'm so excited. And I'm also interested to see if all my speedrunning glitches and stuff still work, but I don't care. Like, I am so excited for the Tomb Raider trilogy. Like, I can't even put it into words. I'm like fanboying over here. And it releases on Lara Croft's birthday. And I know that because I'm a fucking fanboy nerd. And of course, we got the announcement of both Separate Ways, which, again, I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. I was just waiting for it to be announced, which I was very surprised is coming out, like, I mean, literally like next week. And also getting to play as Ada and Wesker in Mercenaries. I'm very interested to see what their like special moves and stuff are. I'm also curious because it looks like they've really expanded the Separate Ways storyline. Instead of just like a shoehorned like mission for Ada, they're actually putting in effort, you know, with like there's cutscene with her and Louise and all this stuff. So I was just like, okay, cool. So I will be live streaming that, and I will be playing it a lot. I'm also really excited for Resident Evil 4 VR because my PSVR 2 has just been sitting there collecting dust, waiting for something. Oh, I guess there's Resident Evil Village, but I never went back to that. I'll play it eventually. And lastly, I know this is going to make a bunch of your eyes roll, but I'm going to give you some backstory. I am genuinely, I've already pre-ordered it, I am genuinely excited for the PlayStation Portal, the little handheld streaming thingy. It's not for everyone, but let me explain why it's for me. Every night, okay, I spent all day at my desk working. I'm working on Ink Ribbon, I'm working on game development, I'm working on 3D animation stuff. I am doing so much all the time, I don't have time to play games. And it's the weird irony of being not only a game developer, but a game channel. I don't have time to play games. Like, pretty much when I stream for you guys is when I play games. The only time I do get to play games is at night. I play my Vita when I'm falling asleep. I'll play certain games that are kind of repetitive, or, you know, if I just want to get through the story and it lulls me to sleep, it's kind of like reading a book, but it's playing video games. I love it. It's just how I function, and nighttime is where I get to relax and actually enjoy games. The problem is, as you most likely know, there's not that many great games for the Vita, as much as I absolutely love the Vita. But now, all my backlog of PlayStation 4 and 5 games that I've been dying to play, I will be able to lay in bed at night and play them on that thing. My PS5 is right over here, my bed is downstairs, I can stream without leaving the house. I don't care about, like, it's perfect for me. It's not for everyone, but it's perfect for me. It's like it was made for me. So I am super excited. I don't think I need to do a review, but if you guys really want to see what it's like when that thing comes out, it's not really something you need unless you have a specific situation like me. But I'm sure some of you might have a situation where you're like, oh, I could actually use that for X, Y, and Z. I don't know. But it comes out in November, and I'm ready for it. And that is pretty much everything that I wanted to say. There were so many things I was like, oh, I should make a video, but nah, I should make a video. And then when Separate Ways was announced, plus the Tomb Raider, I was like, okay, I need to talk about this. So I'll ask you guys, are you excited for anything that I just mentioned? And also, how do you feel about like games in general? Do you have a similar feeling where there was like a couple years of like, or was that just me? I don't know. Are you Gen Z and you think millennials need to shut the hell up about how games used to be? And also, how do you feel about remakes and remasters? And be honest, but don't be mean, okay? We can have a civil discussion in the comments without being jerks to each other. Like, that's all I ask. Ink Ribbon is not the kind of channel where people fight. We have a nice, calm discussion. Help yourself to the snacks and drinks. That's why I put them out here for you guys. All right. I think I've talked way too much, so I'm going to end this video here. But thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to playing Separate Ways with you guys. But until next time, I'm Kai Morgan. And as always, thanks for watching Ink Ribbon. And a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Your extra support means the world to me and helps me keep making content for you guys.